All right, what does the perfect rental property look like? I get asked this question all the time, or maybe even what is an ideal rental property? So that's what we're going to try to figure out. All right, what does the perfect rental property look like? I get asked this question all the time, or maybe even what is an ideal rental property? So that's what we're going to try to figure out. It's the ideal rental, and we're going to be looking at the numbers, right? So if we can find a property that rents at the 1% rule, that makes for a really good property. Those properties will cash flow great, and they'll make for really good properties. So what we would try to typically find would be something in my buy box over $800 a month in rent. I like to buy properties that rent for $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, $1,600. When you're starting to deal with properties that rent for, let's say, $600 or $800 a month, you're dealing with a tenant that's only paying $600 or $800 a month. And they're often not going to have $600 or $800 a month if that's the rent, right? So if you have somebody that's paying $1,200 or $1,400 or $1,600 a month, they're a lot more reliable typically. So let's just say $1,200 would be what I would like to collect in monthly rent, right? $1,200 a month in rent. So if we shoot for $1,200 a month in rent, and we can be all into that property for 1% of the monthly rent, or let's say $120,000, right? That would be great. Being all into that property at $120,000 if it's bringing in $1,200 a month in rent. So if we were to buy this property for, let's say, $90,000, and we were to go ahead and put $25,000 worth of rehab into it, again, this is assuming we can find a property that we can purchase for $95,000 that has about $25,000 worth of work. Now, notice I didn't say $30,000, and the reason is because we're talking about the ideal, right? And the ideal is I don't use any of my own money. So I'm going to go to a private lender and I'm going to borrow the 90 and I'm going to borrow the 25 and I'm also going to borrow another, let's say 5,000. Reason being is I'm going to need that 5 extra K to cover my closing costs and to cover my utilities and to cover any miscellaneous items of owning this and while renting it before I get it refinanced or during the time that I'm rehabbing it, right? So 90 and 20 is 110 plus 5, that's 115 plus another 5 is 120. So look what I just did. I'm all in, right? So that 120 with the purchase, the rehab, and any miscellaneous utilities, taxes, insurance, all these things that I have to deal with while I'm getting it rehabbed. That would make for a really, really great property. Now, what would make it even more ideal would be to get all my money out of that deal, right? So in order to get all of your money out of the deal, you have to, again, be all in at 80% of the ARV or what it appraises for. ARV or appraisal, okay? So in this scenario, if I could be, Alexa, what is 80% of $147,000? I'm just guessing, totally guessing.
117,000
That's 117. So I would basically need to get this to appraise for around 150. Alexa, what's 80% of 150? Is that 120? I'm so bad at simple math. It's 120. Perfect. So if I can be all into this property at 80% of the ARV or the appraisal, and let's say we get it appraised at 150,000. So here's my purchase, right? That would be my buy. Here is my rehab. That would be my R. There's 2 more R's in this method. There's the R that stands for rent, and there's the R that stands for refinance. And whenever you can add the B, the buy, the rehab and be all in and cover the rent and some of the refinance costs with that number right there and be all in for 120, which is here, and it appraised for 150 times 0.8 equals 120K right there. So the ideal rental is one that puts me in the 1% rule right here, right? Because it's gonna essentially guarantee that it's gonna cash flow, right? And then more ideal than even a property that is cash flowing is one that I can acquire with none of my own money. So if I was able to buy one at 90 that needed about 25,000, I would essentially borrow all of the money that I would need from my lenders. So I would actually go borrow the entire 120, even though that's more than I need to purchase and rehab, because it's gonna cover all these additional expenses. And if I can buy it and get it appraised for 150 and get an 80% loan on that, then I'm able to pay back all of that money that I borrowed from the loan the bank gives me, and pay them back and acquire this property with none of my own money. It's the BRRRR method. It's the best way to go about finding assets and adding them to your portfolio and using little to none of your own money. All right, guys, to learn more about how you can implement the BRRRR method and use this strategy to acquire rental properties with little to none of your own money, to learn what makes a good rental property and how to find them and how to market to the owners of other properties or other rentals so you can acquire them and essentially create passive income and financial freedom, go check out wholesalinginc.com/rentals, and you can book a call with my team. And you can learn how real estate has given me financial freedom. In fact, it puts over $20,000 a month into my bank account from the passive income from the rental properties that I own. And that doesn't even include the fix and flips and or the wholesale deals that we're doing. Love those. That's icing on the cake. So again, don't forget, visit wholesalinginc.com/rentals to learn more and get you in the game. I would love to work with you, and you can book a call over on that link, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. More videos like this coming your way.